The engine of my old sedan purred softly as I pulled into the diner's parking lot. It had been one of those mornings, long, exhausting, and completely uneventful. The kind where the coffee barely made a dent and every stoplight seemed to drag on forever. I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary today, just a decent meal and a few minutes of calm. That is, until I caught sight of flashing lights in my rearview mirror. It felt like something straight out of a crime novel, except this was more ridiculous than thrilling. I wasn't being pulled over by a regular cop. That would have been too logical. Instead, it was a vehicle with an odd logo, HOA enforcement. And if that wasn't weird enough, the officer stepping out carried herself like she ruled the world. Meet Linda, the HOA enforcer who'd somehow extended her reign beyond lawns and fences. I eased to a stop right in front of the diner, the neon sign flickering overhead, oblivious to the absurdity playing out below. Linda strutted toward my car like she owned the whole street. I half expected her to ticket me for existing too loudly. When she reached my window, I couldn't miss her pristine uniform or the permanent scowl etched on her face. "Do you know why I pulled you over?" she asked, her tone clipped, like she was inspecting a faulty sprinkler system instead of hassling someone just trying to grab a bite. I glanced past her at the diner. Inside, a couple of sheriff's department vehicles sat parked, and through the window, I saw deputies eating, chatting like it was any old Tuesday. "Honestly, no clue," I said, hoping she'd wave me off so I could forget this ever happened. But Linda wasn't about to let it go. She leaned closer, eyes narrowing. "You were parked too close to a fire hydrant," she declared, as if I'd committed some heinous offense. I raised an eyebrow. "Really? Right here, in front of a diner full of sheriffs?" I nodded toward the window. "You sure they'd back you up on something this petty?" Linda didn't blink. "I'm the authority here," she snapped, tapping her car with a smug thud. "I don't answer to anyone." The irony hit me hard. Here was a woman with a badge that looked like it came from a dollar store, writing tickets in full view of real cops who were probably too busy with their pancakes to care. Something about this was off, way off. Before I could stop myself, I threw the car into park, swung the door open, and stepped out. "You know, I don't think the sheriff's department would approve of this," I said, keeping my tone light but edged with defiance. I wasn't looking for a fight, not really, but Linda's arrogance was grinding my gears. She stared at me, unfazed. "I don't appreciate people questioning me," she shot back, a smirk tugging at her lips. "You should have thought twice before parking near that hydrant." I let out a disbelieving chuckle. "A hydrant? What's next, fining me for not trimming my hedges?" Her eyes twitched, a brief crack in her armor, maybe guilt, maybe irritation, before she snapped back to her stony facade. But I wasn't done. "Linda," I said, letting her name drip with sarcasm, "don't you think it's strange? The whole sheriff's department's in there eating, and you're out here playing traffic cop. Doesn't that strike you as odd?" Her gaze flicked toward the diner, and I caught the tension in her stance as she noticed the deputies inside. She turned back to me, voice steady but with a hint of unease. "I'm handling this. You can stay here, or I can have you towed. Your call." I didn't answer right away. This was starting to feel like a cheap comedy sketch, and I couldn't tell if I was the joke or the setup. But as I glanced at the deputies munching away, oblivious, I knew this wasn't just about a hydrant or a ticket. Something bigger was brewing. I flashed Linda a grin. "How about we take this inside? I'd love to hear what the sheriffs think of your style." Her face twisted with annoyance, but I didn't care. I headed for the diner, fully aware I was stepping into a mess. The deputies were right there, and if Linda thought she was untouchable, she was about to learn otherwise. Pushing open the door, a wave of warm air hit me, laced with the smell of bacon and fresh coffee. It was a no-nonsense joint, the kind where you eat, pay, and leave. Normally, the only drama was overcooked eggs. But today, that small-town vibe felt like a mask. The waitress scribbled orders behind the counter, while a group of deputies lounged in a booth, laughing over some story. They barely noticed me come in, too cozy in their routine. For me, though, this was a reckoning, and I wasn't leaving without answers. I slid onto a stool at the counter, the waitress pouring me coffee without a word before drifting off. My eyes stayed on the deputies. Linda might have thought she could bully me, but something here didn't add up. Why was she playing cop while the real ones ignored it? It felt like an unspoken deal. No one rocked the boat. Well, I was about to capsize it. Casually, I strolled over to their booth and leaned against the wall. Hey, I said, playing it cool. What's the deal with that HOA lady outside? She got some special pass to pull people over? The laughter stopped cold. A burly deputy with a thick mustache looked up, his face tightening. What's that now? He asked, his voice too smooth, like he was dodging trouble. Linda, I said, as if she were just some neighbor. She just stopped me out there. She's not a real cop, right? What's the rule that lets her do that? Silence stretched. A younger deputy shifted, uneasy, his eyes bouncing between me and the table. The mustached one cleared his throat. Look, buddy, I don't know what you saw, but Linda's not someone to mess with. She's got her job, we've got ours. Drop it. I stared at him. Drop it? You know she's out there harassing people over nothing, and you're cool with that. The younger deputy piped up, voice shaky. It's not like that. She's just doing her thing. Sometimes she oversteps, but no harm done, right? My frustration flared. No harm? She's not a cop. She's an HO nut with a power trip, and you're letting her run loose. The mustached deputy scowled. You don't know what you're talking about. This ain't your business. We don't owe you an explanation. That did it. Not my business? I said, louder. It's my business when she's bullying people while you sit here eating. You think that's normal? The room went quiet. The deputies traded looks, their ease replaced by doubt. The mustached one stood, chair scraping. Watch your tone. We don't like troublemakers. My pulse raced, but I held firm. Maybe I care more about people than your rules. So, Sheriff, what's really going on? Then, like clockwork, Linda stepped through the door, arms crossed, smirking. Well, she cooed. Looks like we've got a little problem, huh? I turned, anger spiking. Damn right we do. The deputies squirmed, sensing the shift. This wasn't just about a ticket anymore. It was bigger, darker. And I was about to dig it up, whether they liked it or not. Inside the diner, the air grew thick. Linda's entrance had flipped the script, and the deputies didn't know how to play it. They weren't used to someone pushing back. I faced her, unflinching. Why do you think you can stop people and throw fines around like you're the law? What's your game, Linda? Her smirk wavered, shoulders tensing. She wasn't expecting this fight. The mustached deputy cut in, gruff but nervous. Enough. She's doing her job. Don't make a scene. A scene. I shot back. You've let her hassle people for months, and now I'm the problem? People were watching now, the waitress, the deputies. Linda stepped closer, eyes hard. You don't know me or what I do. Back off. That's when I saw it, fear in her gaze, not just bravado. She was hiding something. I leaned in. You're not above the law, Linda. What's the real story? She flinched, and the mustached deputy noticed too, hesitating. Then the younger deputy spoke, voice steady. He's right. You're not a cop. You've been pulling people over for nothing, and we've let it slide. It's wrong. Linda's face flushed. What are you saying? She snapped, but her confidence was crumbling. I'm saying it's time we stop this, he pressed. We all knew, and we did nothing. That ends now. My adrenaline surged. This was it, the truth breaking free. The mustached deputy sighed, defeated. Linda, you've gone too far. We can't ignore this anymore. Step down. Her defiance flickered, then faded. She followed him out, silent, the fight drained from her. The other deputies sat, uneasy but awake to the cracks in their world. I'd come for answers and stumbled into a shift. As I left, the waitress's hopeful glance met mine. Outside, I spotted another HO8 car, a reminder this wasn't over. But for now, I'd stood up, and that was enough to spark change. One voice can shift a town, and I was ready for what came next.